Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining early. Can you hear my voice? Okay. I admit Catherine and Alexa to become a co-host, so you can make some access while the student may be late for coming in these Zoom sessions. And you can access your materials in the chat room because our LMS UVC is still under maintenance. So, before we start the class, I'd like to show you about what I can make some recaps for our assignments. Uh, in this checklist, I found some of students are missing for submit their assignments. I think it's like Alexa, Kara, sorry, Nico, Mary Rose, Mary Mai, Ayla, Abid, and I think Angela is not in here. So maybe you can in for the next assignments you can send it by the submissions maybe in the time or using the on times informations. So let me to share the PowerPoints. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the screen is ready. Thank you for coming for the sessions about the public sector accountings. And in these evenings, we have the topics about the public sector management controls tool. So in the sessions, we will discuss and make with some, sorry. Yeah, we can discuss about the topic about the public sector management's control, including in the public sector institutions. So what we learned today, we have some topic in overviewing about the management controls, especially in the public sector. And then we have the importance about the control tools in a governance, maybe specifically in the government units. And we also compare with the learning objective that we should have done for these sessions. In these sessions, we have the five learning objective. We need to understand about what is the frameworks that the management controls can doing better. Some in the commercial organizations, and also we can make some equal framework for management control in the public sectors. We will refer with some references from the Merchant, Simmons, and Hofstede. The second objective is we need to make some differentiations between the TPM, the traditional public managements, versus with the new public managements or NPM that's currently working for most of the governments in every countries, and also what to see about the public value that should be happen or should be expressed in the application of new public management. The next objective, we need to identify about the key challenges that should be measured in our performance measurements. And then we make some example for the benchmarking and also the informations, including the balance scorecard that will be helpful or very useful in the public sector institutions. And the end of the sessions, we need to recognize about the role about the trust in the management's controls. Yeah. With this informations about the management control, we need to know about the history about the management's control theory. Since we are in the institutions or the big organizations, we have make some separations in the business or commercial institutions and also with the public sector institutions. So we start about the industrial revolutions in the 19th centuries, and it makes some changes about the shifting about the men in businesses to the large organizations. So in the previous or in the starting of industrial revolution era, we found that a lot of the business has been changing from the human into the industrializations, like the founding about the machines and also with the efficiency in our organizations. So we have some development relatively in accounting and also with the costing of techniques. And from these informations, we can find about the management's control applications starting in 1938, starting with the William Fetters theory. Yeah, while we find about the management's control theory start in 1938 by the William Fetters, the functions and also with the applications in the accountability and incentive start in 1982 by the Kenneth Merchants, is the founder of Management's Control System or MCS. And then the foundations by the merchant in 1982 will make some development from the Siemens in 1990, 94 and 95. We make some additions in interactive and also with the diagnostic control system. The diagnostic control system is developing from the Hofstede frameworks that have been implemented in 1981. The Hofstede creating a framework for the public and non-profit organizations only. So while the Hofstede developed the first development in for the public and non-profit, the merchants also make some new implementations for the profit business or commercial activity. So this is the starting point about the management's control systems. Let's take 2 minutes of overview. What do you learn about the type of management's control from this video?
The Object of Control framework is a comprehensive model designed to help organizations achieve their goals and manage performance effectively. This framework categorizes controls into 4 distinct types, each crucial in aligning employee behavior with organizational objectives. Results controls focus on measuring and rewarding the outcomes of employee actions. These controls emphasize the importance of financial performance metrics, sales targets, and profitability. By setting clear targets and linking rewards to the achievement of these targets, organizations can motivate employees to perform at their best. Action controls ensure that employees perform or avoid specific actions known to be beneficial or harmful to the organization. These controls are implemented through standard operating procedures, policies, and rules. By defining clear guidelines and expectations, organizations can ensure that employees' actions are consistent with the organization's goals. Personnel controls aim to build the capabilities and motivation of employees so they naturally behave in the organization's best interest. This involves practices such as hiring, training programs, and career development. By investing in their employees' growth and development, organizations can create a skilled and motivated workforce. Cultural controls focus on creating a shared set of values and norms within the organization to influence behavior. These controls include fostering a strong organizational culture, establishing codes of conduct, and implementing socialization processes. By shaping the organizational culture, companies can guide employees to act in ways that support the organization's mission and values. In summary, the Object of Control framework provides a structured approach to managing employee behavior and aligning it with organizational goals. By effectively implementing results, action, personnel, and cultural controls, organizations can enhance their performance and ensure that employees contribute positively to the company's success. Stay tuned for more insights into management and strategy.
Okay. That's what
The
we learn
object of control.
about the key controls from the merchant and hostages in the initials of management's control systems. It's very aligning with the profits and also with the company's strategies. So, what is the meaning about the public sector management controls aligning with the merchant and hosted frameworks? In these characteristics, we found that five criteria that should be implemented in the public sector. The criteria number one is there is no profit measures as the performance indicator because we are in the public area. So the public sector is that doesn't mean that we need to gather some profits. We just creating some evidence and also with the satisfactions to the citizens or in the public area, not with the profit measurements. The second category comes from the legal and tax constraint. As we learned that the public sector has funded by the tax income and also will be lots of the legal instructions and also with the sum of objections in this development of the public sector institutions. They have the services oriented as the third characteristics. So while the nature of the public sector is not to gather some profits, they are service in orientations. The next characteristic is about the complex structures, especially for the governments, because they have the bureaucracy and also they have the difference layer to mandate it with some of objections or with the aim of the organizations, starting for the head of the leader until to the staff. And in the last characteristic of the public sector management control, it should be make some influence in a political factors because the public sectors will affect with the public area, especially for the citizens. So they should be have the political enhancings. So will be influencing by the capability of the political factors. In the development of management control systems in the public sectors, we found that we start in the traditional public management or TPM. The TPM is the base of the organizations. It starts with the bureaucratic roles. We have some hierarchical, so they're very structured in the organizations, not innovations. So in the development, maybe for after 10 or 20 years later, they become some efficiency. They're using about the cost driver and also oriented in the market. What is the market? The market means that the public satisfactions. So they can make some performance focus on the public's performance. This is the transitions from the old make like the traditional into the new public management. So this transition is called a public value because the citizens needs about an engagement and also supporting by the high trust and also with the accountability from the bureaucracy into the citizens. To know you about what is the new public management, let's take some time to watch about the definitions in a new public management.
A variety of factors began to coalesce in the mid-1980s, calling into question some of the basic assumptions of public administration. First, there was a resurgence of support for less intrusive government that reduced the regulatory and financial burden on individuals and property holders. Second, the call for less government was advanced by those who were worried that the growing debt and escalating retirement costs of state and local government. Finally, the call for less government was fueled by a general philosophical belief that democracy was safer when government was smaller. Taken together, these forces for change have resulted in movements and call into question the capacity for governments to be the primary agent in solving society's problems. New Public Management, referred to as NPM, took the business or market model as the standard for measuring government success and has applied it in successive waves of administration reform since the early 1980s. There has been a concerted effort over the past 3 decades to reframe the model of public administration from a rule-centered system of accountability to one that makes government run more like a business. This movement, called New Public Management, strives to make the services provided by government more responsive and accountable to citizens by applying business-like management techniques with a strong focus on competition, customer satisfaction, and measurement of performance. There's a general agreement among scholars and practitioners alike that these efforts to measure what gets done have produced a variety of worthwhile results. Measures of efficiency and effectiveness have inspired managers, supervisors, and frontline employees to improve their capacity to diagnose and correct operational problems. An emphasis on performance management has heightened interest in creating systems that improve the overall management and governance of political entities. Performance management systems have expanded to embrace an increasingly larger array of values, including cost and efficiency measures. But there are 2 major weaknesses of using the private sector business principles to improve performance of government, regardless of what gets measured. First, there's no common denominator, such as profit, market share, or return on investment, that can serve as the basis for comparisons across a wide range of criteria that build trust and legitimacy among citizens and their political institutions. Furthermore, efficiency, effectiveness, and responsiveness to citizens are not the only consideration. Values like fairness, equity, protection of rights, and transparency play important roles in determining the legitimacy of political institutions, processes, and outcomes. The second weakness of using private sector models for improving government performance is that the public sector is comprised of increasingly fragmented structures of authority, making private market approaches ineffective in delivering great public service. To summarize, the New Public Management agenda is based on a truncated view of the purpose of government. Government is not simply an agent of accountability to citizens or an agent of efficiency and effectiveness. It is also responsible for collecting the values of the community and creating integrated responses to those values across increasingly fragmented government systems.
Right. While the new public management is a very recent development in the public sector accountings, but the implementation is not without the weakness. They still have a lot of inefficiency in a democracy and very structured. So it means that there's still a weakness. Even the public management or the new public management is the best, or maybe for the newest in the modern implementation about the governance in the public sector. That is, we can find about the informations about the new public managements. So, for that reasons, we need to comparing about the performance measurements. In the video, we found that there is no basis of comparisons in the performance measurement in the public sector. So in these sessions, we will create some challenges. That's why the performance in the public sector have difficulties, because it's sometimes the outcome cannot be inaccurate for the measurables activity. If we talk about the citizens' happiness, or maybe with the self-implementations or the self-interactions between peoples or between the citizens, we can find about the alignings, the needs about the political and also with the bureaucratic. So the outcome that should be implemented or should be realized in the citizens maybe not in the best conditions for the political and also with the bureaucratic. So we need to we need to make some adjustments and also creating some efficiency and also with effectiveness and improving about our service delivery, because the service delivery is a must and is the best focus to make the performance measurement in the best area for the public sector. So what is the tools that we can prepare to creating performance measurement in the public sector accountings? So we can find using the balance scorecard. As the accountants, I believe that you have learned or you have heard about the balance scorecards. The balance scorecard is developed by Kaplan and Norton in 1992. This scorecard is applied for the public sector organizations, and they will be measures about the perspective, not only in the financials, but it's cover for non-financials also. We have 4 perspective in the balance scorecard. The number 1 is still in a financials perspective. We can make some measurement from the financials outcome, like the efficiency of cost, maybe for the margin of the profit, or maybe for the leverage, and also with the tax payment from the citizens. And also we can make the second perspective from the customer satisfactions or citizen satisfactions. And then we also implement or measure about how good our internal process in the bureaucratic system and also in a democracy. And in the last perspective, we still make some comparisons to learn and grow. So our institutions, especially in the public sector, will have make some growing activity and also having a lot of trust from the citizens or our customers. This is how we learn about the balance scorecards. I need let's have a look for several minutes to learn about the balance scorecards in the public sector accountings.
The Balance Scorecard. Measuring a company's performance is important. If something doesn't get measured and reported, then probably nobody in the company will be paying much attention to it. Traditionally, companies have relied on financial indicators in order to measure their performance. This worked well when most of a company's assets were physical and could be reflected in a company balance sheet, such as machines, buildings, and cash. However, these days, a company's success no longer depends primarily on its physical assets, but more on the less tangible factors such as the loyalty of its customers, the efficiency of its work processes, or the skills of its employees. These important topics don't show up anywhere on the company's financial statements, so we cannot track their progress by just looking at financial performance indicators. That is why Professor Robert Kaplan of Harvard Business School and management consultant David Norton developed the Balance Scorecard. They argued that, just as a pilot relies on more than one measure in order to fly a plane, managers need a broad set of performance indicators to lead a company towards success. In the Balance Scorecard, the company vision and strategy are at the center and are surrounded by measures along 4 perspectives: financial, customer, internal business process, and learning and growth. Let's have a look and see how the Balance Scorecard works. First, we draw the 4 dimensions. In the center, we write the vision or mission of the company. Say you run a coffee shop company and your goal is to become the best coffee shop in your city by serving delicious coffee and providing excellent service. Then we can start defining measures for each of the 4 dimensions. The financial measures reflect what the company's shareholders ultimately care about, including things like sales, gross margin, and net profit. However, your coffee shop can only have financial success if it has lots of happy and loyal customers. So in the customer dimension, you can measure how many customers you serve each month and how satisfied they are with your coffee. In order to do well along the customer dimension, a company must do its work well. This is measured by the business process perspective and deals with the question, what must we be good at in order to succeed as a business? Performance indicators here can include the time taking to process an order, time needed to prepare a coffee, and the number of complaints or quality incidents. Finally, a company needs to keep on learning and improving. The question, can we continue to improve and create value, is captured in the learning and growth perspective, with measures that can include the skills acquired by company employees or the development of new items on the menu. In the end, all measures are related to each other. Only qualified baristas will be able to make good coffee and serve customers well. And only with good coffee and excellent service do customers come to your coffee shop, which in turn will lead to good financial results. So, to perform well financially in the future, companies need to do well on the customer, business process, and learning and growth dimensions today. This is why financial results are referred to as lagging indicators, since they tell us about past performance. Results related to the non-financial dimensions are called leading indicators. They give us information about future performance and need to be managed today in order to get good financial results tomorrow. The Balanced Scorecard can serve as a performance management system for the entire company. As an example, for the customer dimension of the Balanced Scorecard, say your coffee shop wants to maximize the number of customers and the level of customer satisfaction. It can then set specific. The Balanced Scorecard.
Oh, sorry.
Number of customers and the level of customer satisfaction. It can then set specific targets for each of these goals and define a range of actions in order to reach these goals. Once this is done, the company can use the scorecard to track progress and take any corrective actions that may be needed. In this way, all the actions of a company are aligned with each other and contribute towards reaching its overall goal. That concludes the Balanced Scorecard. Check our other videos for more insights. Brought to you by Sim Institute.
Right. We have a fourth perspective in a balanced scorecard, but all of the perspective, these four elements will be connected. So we can start about the financials maybe, or we can start from the customers, we can start with the internals, and also we can start from the learning and growth. For the examples, we start for learning and growth, and in the end, they become the good in financials. But it's depend on the every unit of the public sectors. You can start from the financials. You can make some start from the learning and growth, and also you can make a start from the customers. So it's depend on how do you treat your citizens or how do you treat your customers. Yeah, that's how the balanced scorecard working in public sectors. So we need to compare both the similar organizations in the public sectors to create it what is the best or what is the successful unit or organizations. So we can make a different type of benchmarking. We can make some benchmark from the internal process, and also we can make a competitive advantage from the products unit or outcomes. We also creating some benchmark from the functional of our services, and also in a generals we have the same or equals with the services quality by the public sector entities. In the case of examples, we have two kind of examples that you can find in your ebooks for the UK local authorities and also with the Dutch municipalities. But for these evenings, I have one example only from the UK. You can look at what is the successful of UK local governments to creating efficiency with their balanced scorecard and also with the control in the public sector entities.
This is the Rethink report, where we don't just report the news, we question it. The UK government is rolling out a sweeping overhaul of local government, branding it the devolution revolution. This plan would see district and county councils merged into larger unitary authorities, giving local leaders more control over key policy areas like transport, housing, and economic development. The government argues this will streamline decision-making, reduce administrative costs, and make services more efficient. But is this really about efficiency? Or is it an attempt to centralize power and cut budgets? Supporters claim the new structure will eliminate waste, reduce bureaucracy, and allow for more strategic regional planning. They argue that under the current system, overlapping responsibilities between different levels of government create inefficiencies that slow down projects and waste taxpayer money. By consolidating councils, they say, decision-making will become clearer and more effective, allowing communities to receive services faster and more efficiently. But critics warn that merging councils could have unintended consequences. Larger authorities could mean a loss of local representation, distancing decision-makers from the communities they serve. Some worry that local voices will be drowned out as councils become bigger and more centralized. Others fear that the move is less about improving governance and more about cost-cutting, which could lead to reductions in public services, job losses, and even increased local taxes. One of the biggest concerns is the potential for increased bureaucracy at a higher level. While the plan aims to cut costs, the restructuring process itself could create new challenges aligning different policies, redistributing council resources, and restructuring workforces. Some experts argue that these short-term disruptions could outweigh the benefits, at least in the initial years of implementation. The move also raises political questions. Some view this as a power grab by central government, reducing the autonomy of smaller local councils and placing more control in the hands of regional mayors and larger authorities. Others argue that it could actually increase local control by giving mayors and council leaders more direct decision-making power. The debate is far from settled, and the success of this plan will depend on how it's implemented. Will it truly bring efficiency and modernization, or will it lead to greater costs, reduced representation, and declining services? One thing is certain, this plan could reshape the way local government operates in the UK for generations to come. The Rethink report doesn't just report the news, we question it.
Right. There is the implementation
This is the
of
Rethink report.
UK local authorities because it's the one of the most efficient local governments that will be found in this every countries. So for the controls itself, it could be implemented or will be taken in the two kind of the positions, the soft control and the public sector's managements. Yeah, we can find about the trust and also with the soft controls. What is the meaning of soft control and trust? The soft control is creating about the reliance. So we can find and we can develop some trust base with the control mechanisms, even in our citizens, with our bureaucracy and our unit of organizations. So these challenges will be make some like the against of over regulations. Maybe we can create with some actions that should be beneficial for our customers, like the citizens or in the humans beings. And also we need to creating about the concept of high trust in the models of the governance. So even we make some mistakes in our actions, with the high trust, the citizens will still have good positive vibes or with a good high trust to the governments or into the bureaucrats. So in the end of the sessions, we can take some summary. In overalls, we have the 3 points about the management controls in the public sector accountings. The number one is it's taking the importance to adapt how the managements can controls with the public sector needs. So our focus is a public sector needs or with the customer satisfactions or our citizen satisfactions. The second one is about creating some benchmark to ensure that our performance are measurables, reliables, and also can make some growth and with the goods or the positive to creating about the high trust from the citizens to the bureaucrats. And the end of the summary, the trust is the fundamental aspects or in the fundamental parts in our modern of the public sector governance. So in the end of the actions of the governments, they will be create about the trust or they want to gather with the high trust to be serve their citizens. Even I give you about the ebooks in a public sector accountings from the Puddings et al. From the Routledge in 2015. I think you need to make some additions of references you can do by yourself for the self-individual studies, like the balance scorecard from Kaplan and Norton in 1992, or you can find in using the Wikipedia also, and also about how to lever our controls in the management unit or the organizations from the Robert Simmons in 1994 and 1995. And also the control functions of managements starting by the Kenneth Merchants in 1982. So this is for your self-individual studies. So with these informations, I didn't give you any assignment for these sessions. Yeah. So there is no assignment only for these sessions. Okay. Any questions so far? You can raise your hand if you have any questions. Okay, while you doesn't have any questions, let me to check about these schedules. Yeah. Today we are in the sessions number 6 in 24 March. So we are meet again in 14 April. Yeah, not in the next weeks. We will meet again in maybe in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, in the next 2 weeks. In 14 April. Yeah. In 31 of March, we doesn't have any class. 7 April, we also doesn't have a class because we are still in the public holiday in Indonesia. So we can start our class again in 14 April. 14 April. Yeah, I think that's enough. The goods materials for today. Thank you for comings. But if you have any questions so far, after the class, maybe you can send your questions to my emails, or I will give you another explanations, maybe in the class or maybe personally by you by the emails. And also, I will send the recording of the class through Alexa, and maybe Alexa will send to the another students. Okay, before I end the class, maybe any questions from the UVB? Any informations?
I think no, sir.
Okay.
But probably, may you share like the material for the midterm exam?
Oh, we have midterm exams in, sorry. After 14 Aprils, we have one sessions again before midterms, Alexa.
Okay, so I guess you will explain.
Yeah,
Okay,
I will inform
just
you
want to make
about
sure that.
what do you prepare for midterms in 14 Aprils.
Okay, noted, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Nice to see you in this evening. So we have take a break of maybe for 2 weeks for the public holiday in here, and we can meet again in 14 April. Good night, everyone. Thank you for Catherine and Alexa. See you in next 2 weeks.